Have you ever heard the phrase, "don't blink, it could take you by surprise"? This is exactly what can happen if you're driving while impaired. Today, I will be persuading you all why you should not get behind the wheel of a car while you are impaired. Being impaired isn't necessarily the type of alcohol or drugs used, it's the amount you consume over a period of time. The myth that coffee, a cold shower, or exercise will help you sober up is false. Only time will do that. There are around 10,874 deaths every year due to driving under the influence, and someone is injured in a DUI crash every 2 minutes. Just let that sink in. Today I'm going to show you some statistics of DUI crashes, the financial ruin you can expect to have, and finally, the result of what will happen if you drive while impaired. The first point I want to cover for you are some of the stats of driving under the influence. There are plenty of other options you can take rather than getting behind the wheel of a car. While impaired, such as a taxi, Uber, or have a designated driver. About 1 in 3 people will be involved in a drunk driving crash during their lifetimes. I don't know about you guys, but if it were me, this statistic is saying that myself or one of my 2 brothers will be involved in a car crash by the time our lives come to an end, and that scares me. If you drive while impaired, you could get arrested or worse, be involved in a traffic crash that causes serious injury or death. Now, I have a close friend who was caught up in a case of drinking and driving, and I can assure you that is not worth it to get behind the wheel of a car while you are impaired. We take action to ensure that less drunk drivers are on the road day by day. A DUI conviction can ruin you. Not only can it take your job, it can take your house, your car, or more importantly, your family. Any conviction of driving a motor vehicle while intoxicated is expensive, as the costs of court fines, hiked insurance rates, lost productivity, etc. add up. Being charged with a DUI cost in most states is costly enough to equal the cost of the person taking a taxi cab across the country and back. Financial deficit is a real thing, especially when you have been convicted of a DUI. Court-ordered fees are expensive, your insurance rates will rise, and you will need to take a class in order to get your license back. This can take a big toll on anyone's bank account. An offender's car insurance bill can increase $5,000 to $10,000 a year. Such an offense can also lead to a loss of a job, especially if an offender's job revolves around driving a motor vehicle. If you were injured in a crash, you will have doctor's bills and you have lost your job because you do not have your license anymore or are just unable to work due to your injuries. Life can become very stressful with no income coming in. We see there is a problem with drivers driving impaired, so why do we do it? The problem of death due to an impaired driver are astonishing, and that should spark a problem on all of us. Think again about this. In 2017, 10,874 deaths, people died in drunk driving crashes. That's 1 every 48 minutes. If this stat does not scare you, I don't know what will. This is saying we have a chance of death every 48 minutes we are in a car. Now, I have heard stories about people in car crashes caused by drunk drivers, and nothing will prepare you seeing it firsthand or being a survivor of a tragic crash. According to NHTSA, 10,874 people died in alcohol-impaired crashes in 2017. Alcohol-impaired crash fatalities account for 29% of all crash fatalities. Do you want to have a police officer come to your parents' or spouse's house to tell them the tragedy that has happened just because of one stupid choice you or someone else have made and got behind the wheel of a car? Now let's take a look at what I've told you today. I have shown you what can come from getting behind the wheel of a motor vehicle while you are under the influence. The costs associated with an arrest and conviction and the results of doing so, which can result in serious injury or even death. Today I want to challenge you all to never get behind the wheel of a car while you are impaired or ride in a car with a friend that is impaired. The results are against you driving safely at home. The time to save someone's life is now, and let's keep all of these impaired drivers off the road. Thank you for listening.